Hey guys, well, it's day 2 of Genius Hour in 10, and today we're going to talk all about the 6 P's of Genius Hour, what they are, and how they can really be used to kind of create a roadmap for Genius Hour. You know, when I started Genius Hour in my own classroom, it was amazing. We were having so much fun. But there was, I never like to send the message that there wasn't some pushback from my students. They were just as uncomfortable with this new type of learning as I was. But really one of the things that I struggled with most was that I was spending so much of my time managing the process. In other words, I was answering questions like, what do I do next? Or I just did this, now what should I do? And instead of really spending the time that I wanted to be spending creating relationships with my learners and helping them make connections to the standards and to those life-ready skills, I was really spending so much of my time managing the process of Genius Hour, and I just didn't want to do that anymore. And so I really woke up one night in the middle of the night, it's a crazy story, and realized that every part of Genius Hour that we were doing in my classroom started with the letter P. And so the 6 P's were born. I went in and took a picture, and I'll drop it into the comments below, of a bulletin board that I created. And so it was just passion, plan, pitch, project, product, presentation. And those 6 P's really kind of served as a roadmap for my students to follow as we went through the Genius Hour process. And so thinking back on that now, I didn't realize how much of an impact it had. But when we started following that roadmap, I was able to spend my time helping them make those connections to those life-ready skills: collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking, and reflection. And then I was also able to just create relationships with them, like have conversations and learn with them as they were working on their projects. And it just changed the way that I saw Genius Hour. So being able to learn with them had a huge impact on how I saw myself as an educator. It also had a huge impact, I think, like I said, on our relationships and the connections that they were able to make because I wasn't having to spend my time managing the process. So now the 6 P's, after the book and after we've really kind of thought about what does this look like and what can it look like in a classroom, and thinking about what it looked like in my classroom, there's just so many different ways that you can make that process work for you. And so what we're going to do throughout these 10 days, Genius Hour in 10, is we're going to look at each one of the 6 P's. We're going to talk about what it means and how you can really implement that part of the process in a meaningful way into your classroom. But I always like to say, and I want to say this before we get started, the 6 P's were never meant to be like a check, check, check. Like on passion, you have to do all of these things. On plan, you have to do all of these things. Instead, it was really meant to be a roadmap. And so what that means is when you're taking a road trip and you're following a map, you oftentimes have certain stops that you're going to stop at, but you may go see different things along the way, or you may take a different path. There might be a time where you kind of veer off where you were planning on going and you do something different. That's what should happen with the 6 P's. So following them as a roadmap, these are the stops we're going to make: passion, plan, pitch, project, product, presentation. But that might look different in each classroom. So while one person might use A.J. Giuliani's passion bracket to help students find their passions, another teacher might use Thrively. And we're going to talk about so many of those tools and so many different things that you can do. But I want to make sure that it's clear that the 6 P's of Genius Hour were never meant to be a checklist. They really were meant to be more of a roadmap for educators to follow and use in their classroom as they make Genius Hour work for them and their students. And I always say, really, at the heart of it all, the 6 P's of Genius Hour were created for just this: to make Genius Hour manageable for you and meaningful for your students. And so that, if that's what it does, man, I just, for me, that's exactly what the 6 P's did. And that's what I needed at that time, because it started to feel a little bit out of control. It started to feel like my students didn't know what to do next, and they needed that roadmap. And so that's really what that has become. So I'm going to put a couple of images in the comments below of the 6 P's of Genius Hour, as well as some resources. But as we go through these next few days, we are going to dive into each one of those 6 P's and talk about what it means, how you can implement it really in a way that will make sense to your learners, how you can weave in those life-ready skills along with the standards. I love talking about the 6 Ps just because of the impact that it had on my classroom. So again, I'll drop those images below. I just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk to you about what the 6 Ps are, and kind of how we're going to roll through this throughout the 10 days of throughout Genius Hour in 10. So again, I'm super stoked about just these next few days. I can't wait to kind of get into exactly what these look like. Tomorrow, we're going to be diving into passion. And so we'll be talking about what's the difference between a passion and an interest. How can you use purpose to really drive a passion project? And really how you can help students figure out what they're passionate about. Because I promise you this, when you ask your students, what are you passionate about? Their first response is going to be like, I have no idea. Why are you asking me this? Give me my worksheet, right? So them figuring that out and what that looks like is not always easy, but I think that as we dive in tomorrow to what that is, it'll start to make more sense. So again, 6 Ps of Genius Hour: passion, plan, pitch, project, product, presentation. I'm going to drop an image below, but I'm going to talk with you as we go throughout Genius Hour in 10 about how you can create a process that kind of runs itself and how you can use this process to, like I said, make Genius Hour manageable for you and meaningful for your learners. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, feel free to drop those below. I'll be posting the reflection questions for today's video very shortly. I just so appreciate you joining me in this journey, and I know it's going to be over before I'm ready. I can't believe it's already day 2. But again, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, same time, same place.